So again, you should keep poop where poop belongs, and keep puke. Um, you need to think about it and catch yourself before you puke something out of your mouth. Um, don't be like a dog who eats his own puke, and don't be like a baby who would stick her hand in her diaper and look at the poop on her hands and allow it to touch your face. Okay, don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Think before you open up your mouth. Get some education, get some information before you open up your mouth. Okay, but again, there's a difference between Puerto Ricans, Latinos, and actual Mexicans. When Trump was speaking about actual Mexicans, he was speaking about the ones that cross the border and come over here and get away with all kinds of crime. He was speaking about the ones that are trying to segregate here in America and trying to take over in certain parts of America, the ones that black people have to fight with, the ones that white people have to fight with, the ones that are in and out of prison like black folks. Okay, those are the Mexicans he was talking about. Another thing this fool said in the Lyft, and I was wrong. It was a Lyft. Same thing. Uber, Lyft, it's all actually one company, but it was a Lyft today. Sometimes Lyft will give me a cheaper price than Uber. Um, Another thing this fool said. No, I don't forgot it. He said that it'll come back to me. Um, but actual Mexicans, when do black people really care about Mexicans? Most of y'all ain't even never came in contact with a Mexican, let alone, you know, you know what I'm saying? Because Mexicans are usually the Spanish colony that, you call on the phone and they come and cut your yard, fix your plants and your gardens and cut your grass and stuff like that. Okay? They're not people you work with. They're not people that you climb the corporate ladder with. Okay? They don't usually go to college. Okay? Puerto Ricans, yes. Latinos, yes. Okay? And other Spanish colonies, yes. But actual Mexicans are usually the worst of all Spanish people, according to not only Donald Trump, but a lot of people, especially people who have traveled Mexico, and especially people who know something about the cartels, and especially people who know about the abuse of women and children and human trafficking and all that stuff in Mexico. They know something about this. Talk what you know, man. Talk what you know. Okay, not how you feel. Okay. Um, but actual Mexicans, Donald Trump was speaking about. He wasn't speaking against Puerto Ricans. He wasn't even speaking against all Mexicans. He was speaking about illegal immigrants who come over here and they use the fact that they're illegal immigrants and that to cause havoc in America. And it is true. It's not him talking. It's true. Okay. I've I've been friends with a lot of Puerto Ricans over the years, from childhood to this point. But I've had problems with certain Spanish speaking people, okay, and they usually weren't Puerto Rican or Latino. They were usually some other colony like Mexico or, somebody on that side of the border, okay? Um, I've had my problems with him. I've had to call the police. If I've ever had to call the police on a Spanish speaking person, it was usually somebody that was Mexican or some other uh, Spanish, colony that I can't quite get the name out. Okay, but anyway, but again, um, Trump never ever said anything about deporting blacks. Okay, and that's how me and this guy got on this topic about Mexico, because I said, well, here we go again. You putting yourself in there, but Trump never, said anything about um, deporting blacks, and he goes to saying dumb stuff like, well, if he's deporting Mexicans, okay. Again, Trump never said anything about deporting black people. He never had one thing against black people. You say Trump's a racist. That's what he said. You say, oh, Trump's a racist. Well, what white president that ever was president of the United States? And you know what? Won't nobody black say this? I mean, I would give you credit if you would lie about one, but you won't even say that because you want to accuse all white people of racism, even the ones that are feeding you, even the ones that are hiring you and giving you jobs and paying your paycheck. You want to accuse them of racism because for some reason you need to do that. I'll never understand why, but you feel you need to do that. Okay, but I would say to black people, I say, well, what president of the United States that was white that you can honestly say was not a racist? They won't say Jimmy Carter. Some of them will go all the way back to Abraham Lincoln. Just because Abraham Lincoln, and I heard this from you, black folks, just because Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, does that mean he wasn't a racist? Because now I'm hearing that he didn't do it because he wanted to do it. He did it because he had to do it. He did it, to because the negotiation was on the table, however that goes. Okay, you know, there was an ulterior motive as to why he freed the slaves. Who cares? The point is, he freed the slaves. If it was really, really, really that important, he'd have kept the slaves. Okay, for whatever reason, he freed the slaves. Okay, but most people they'll skip that argument and skip right past that. They don't want any white person to be free of racism. Even the ones that are signing your paycheck, you do not want them to be free of complete, non-racism, or completely free of racism. You do not want them to be considered completely colorblind or non-biased. Okay, you just have to put white people in this hot seat. Okay, in the cell of hatred, no matter who they are in your life, and they're in your life. If you're black, you got white people in your life, and if you got a job, you got a family, and you're out there hanging out with your friends, you're having a good time, you're laughing and smiling about things, that tells me you got some good white people behind you. Okay, but yet you can never say, oh, when I say, what, name a white president that was not a racist. Now, there's only one girl who would say, one Democratic girl that I know, um, who would say that Jimmy Carter was not racist. Was it Jimmy Carter? Yeah, Jimmy Carter. That he wasn't racist. Okay. But I believe the difference between there's only one kind of racism. You're not racist because you don't invite black people over to the house to have dinner with you and your family. You're not racist because you don't like black people. What racism is when you use your feelings about these races, okay, and express them in a violent way, in a way of genocide, so to speak. That's racism. Okay, that's racism. Even even when I would go up to restaurants and I was telling somebody about this, and he got offended. Don't get offended at me. Get offended at the people that actually did it, because he thought we were past this. No, this happened in the '90s. You walk into a diner and they tell you you're not. They don't serve your kind, so you turn around and walk out. This happened in the '90s. Do I feel that we come a long way since Jim Crow in the '90s? Yes. But you can still walk into a restaurant and people don't want you there. You can still walk into a restaurant and people don't want you there. You can still walk into a bar and people don't want you there. You can still walk into a store and some white guys following you all around the store. The biggest thing for them to watch on camera is your black behind. Okay? You know what I'm saying? You're still going to go through that. However, do I feel that we've come a long way since Jim Crow? Yes. But that doesn't mean that some people don't have racist thoughts and attitudes towards black people. That doesn't mean that some people aren't biased or stereotypical. You're going to go through that every day. Every day. It's part of being who we are. But we are to go through it, not to create it. Hear me. We are to go through it. It's part of our heritage. We're not to create it. When you sit there and say stuff about Donald Trump and you don't know what the heck you're talking about, okay, you are creating that narrative. You're creating racism. You're creating it. Okay, because other people, because they're dumb, will take what you say seriously and run to town with it. I'm telling you, you got to stop it. Okay, back to rich people. There is nothing wrong with being rich. Okay, if I was rich, my kids wouldn't have to work jobs that I wouldn't work as a wealthy person. I would make sure I would buy my girls a house. I have 3 daughters. One of them's my stepdaughter, but I would put them all together and their kids in a big mansion. If I had some Trump money, I'd put my whole family on a piece of property and a big piece of land, and it's all their land, it's all their property. They own it, it's theirs. And I know where they're at. I know how they're living. They're in a good neighborhood. They're in a good place. I'm not worried about nobody harming them. I'm not worried about what's going to happen. White people look at them funny when they go to the grocery store. We don't care about that. Okay? But you ain't got to worry about nobody going to drive by. You ain't got to worry about my grandkids getting, shot up in what do you call it? Being in the middle of a altercation between 2 black gangs or 2 black high school kids or whatever. Okay? It's just, us enjoying what white people have cooked for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and living in peace. Okay, this is what white people got going on up in here. Okay, let's enjoy it. Okay, and everybody's peaceful. We don't need violence and guns and crime and dead kids. Okay, in order to be black, that has nothing to do with blackness. That has to do more with idiocy. Okay, and I almost said something I didn't want to say. Okay, so just stop. Okay, but if I was rich, you darn right I'm gonna privilege my kids. Okay, you might as well call me white because if I become rich, my kids are privileged. The first thing I would do is say, hey, I bought you a house. I bought you a mansion. Y'all gonna come live? Y'all got your own space in this mansion. Y'all got all this. It's all yours. Put a fence around it. Put do not trespass signs around it. Go get a shotgun and sit out on the porch. It's your land. You can do what you want to. Go in the woods and kill some deer. Okay. When it ain't hunting season, it's your property. You know what I'm saying? Burn your garbage in the woods. You don't even need a garbage man. Okay. I would. I would. But to sit there and say that you hate the rich or that, rich people, well, maybe Republicans are smarter than Democrats. That's why a lot of them are rich. But I know this is the thing. Like I told him, there are a lot of rich Democrats. They just hide it very well, but they are filthy rich. And a lot of these Democrats were rich before they ever went into the White House. They were rich before they ever went in the White House. Okay? They were rich before they ever got into politics. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? You ain't been to their house. You ain't seen their car collection. You know what I mean? They don't talk about that. Why? Because the whole point of the Democratic Party is to claim that we're all victims and the Republicans made us victims and we need to subtract from them so that we can have. That is the whole point of being a Democrat. They're not going to show you the riches. They're not going to show you their collection of anything. Collections of homes and cars and resorts and sex trafficking and you name it. They're not going to show it to you. Not going to show it to you. But it's there. It's there. The difference between Republicans feel that everybody should be owning, everybody should be capitalizing, everybody should be you look at these black conservatives, for example. Most black conservatives don't work at McDonald's. They don't work at in a fast food restaurant of any sort. They may do construction. They may work in the coal mine or work for the city or something like that. They have the better jobs, but they don't waste their time, okay, with the little stuff, okay? So they can sit down there and cry and play the victim. They don't do that, okay? Trump wanted us. Um, Trump knew what we wanted before we got there, and you got to understand that this was all staged, that this was all planned. You got to understand that. Like this whole attack on Trump supporters in the beginning was all planned. These Trump supporters, these people attacking Trump supporters didn't even know what they was attacking. They were paid to do it. They were coerced into doing it. And they didn't even know what it was about, and they didn't care because that's where they come from. They never know what it's about. They just do it, you know? But Trump knew what I wanted as a black man before he went into office. My only problem with Trump, as far as black people, is singling us out as black people. I hate when anybody singles us out as black people. Don't say stuff like black community. There is no black community. The black community is the last thing you want to support, Mr. Trump. Because the black community is people of the same race, of the same color, that think the same, act the same. Okay? And they make scruples for each other. Okay? You're not allowed to be a Republican in the black community. If you're a Republican, you have left the black community. Unless you're a fake Republican. Okay? But if you're a real Republican, you have left the black community. Okay? And they don't want you in their community if you are a real Republican. If you really understand the policies of, being a real Republican. Okay? And Trump had some gangster in him. Okay? He had some gangster in him. Like they used to say that about Barack Obama. He had some nigga in him. Well, I'm not going to say, he had some nigga in him. I say Barack Obama had some gangster in him. And the reason why everybody loved Trump, and you got to understand that Trump was brought in, this is the lobbyists. Trump was brought in to clean up what Obama messed up. Okay? And a lot of people that are in hate groups like the KKK and the other ones, the white nationalists and that, they know that he was brought in to clean up what Barack Obama messed up. But that doesn't make him a racist. That does not make him a racist. Okay? And even if Donald Trump was one of them kind of white people that felt that a black man should never be in American office, I'd still support the man. You know why? Because you don't need a black person in office. We don't need a black person in office. We need a person that's going to go in there and be fair for all. The color of your skin don't mean nothing. Barack Obama went in there and he supported terrorists. Okay? He supported terrorists. He supported black on black violence. Okay? That's not what black people need. Okay? And yeah, Trump done a lot of talking and running his fat mouth. Okay? He should have never said what he said about John McCain. He should have never said anything about grabbing anybody by the coochie, which, you know what I'm saying? That's been done to me right here on YouTube. I'm talking about something and it's not really meant to really go out publicly in this part of the world because nobody watches my videos anyway. But the people that do watch my videos that hate me, they want to make it go public. They want to make sure it comes down here close to home. You know what I'm saying? So I know what he went through when, you know what I'm saying, all of a sudden they had this footage, but they never bothered to use it until he tried to get in the office. Then they try to say, oh, well, Trump believes in grabbing women by the coochie. Well, let me tell you something. There's a lot of women who don't mind being grabbed by the coochie. Depending on the man that they are trying to get on their knees for, they don't mind being grabbed by the coochie. Okay? Know your women. Okay? Going back to Monica Lewinsky. You think Monica Lewinsky didn't mind being grabbed by the coochie? You think Bill Clinton never grabbed Monica Lewinsky by the coochie? Okay? If she was dumb enough, okay, to leave his sperm on her dress and get back right up there in front of the camera with his sperm on her dress, she was dumb enough to be grabbed by the coochie. Hey, Trump didn't say anything wrong. It's just the context that he was caught saying it in. It had nothing to do with the presidency. It had nothing to do with him as a person, other than the fact that, before he met his wife, I hope before he met his wife, that he was popping these women, okay? And women, some of these women in politics are dumber than women in the real world. You can grab them by the coochie. I know some women watching this video right here that don't mind being grabbed by the coochie. Okay? You know who you are. Hey, if I was talking about you off camera, I'd be saying the same thing. You can grab them by the coochie, some of these YouTube chicks, these little atheist YouTube chicks that be getting on here hating. You can grab right by the coochie. They so horny. So horny. Ain't nothing but a, blankety blank blank blank, What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? But Trump had some gangster in him. If you said something to Trump, okay, just like black folks, if you felt that you get up in Trump's face and talk trash to him, he talked trash to you right back. Okay? See, I do it. Then people want to start talking about how small I am and how well I can fight. Yeah, but you start talking trash to me first. You know what I'm saying? I'm just defending myself. Okay? Oh, but because I'm good at defending myself, now you want to fight. Because you figure you would have the upper hand because you're taller than me. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Okay? And there's no muscles in your groin. Okay? Hopefully you're too tall for me to reach your groin. Okay? You have no idea. You have no idea how easy that is. Okay? You know what I mean? I could teach women some things. You know what I'm saying? I could teach. I'm a man, I guess. I could teach women some things about how easy it is to take a man out. How easy it is to take a man out. But Trump said some things that he shouldn't have said. I agree. He should have never said what he said about John McCain. And he should have been careful what he said about women, since he was already accused of grabbing them by the coochie, which he didn't grab anybody by the coochie. He didn't grab anybody by the coochie. He was just talking to his homie boy in private, and they collected the footage. And I'm pretty sure Trump sued that guy. That they don't tell you that, but I'm pretty sure Trump sued the guy that threw that in the media. Okay, I'm pretty sure Trump ripped him a new one. Okay, but Trump came late. I mean, if Trump had came like 30 years ago, it would have been natural. But because of the times, it wasn't that Trump came in here and started a war. It was that we were already at a war. We just didn't know who we was fighting until Trump got up there and showed us. See, we all knew that we were different in some way, but we didn't know how different we were. And then when Trump stepped into office, we realized that we are slaves to this idea that we all have to go along with things. And we don't. And so black people went on a split, because now that Trump's in office, you see that black people are more diverse. Okay? We begin to stand up and say, yes, we are Republicans. And yes, we believe if we can pull it off, if Trump can pull it off for us, then we believe that we can be this kind of Republican. If Trump can pull it off for us. But all the other presidents before him couldn't pull it off. Because, Bush was so concerned about terrorists, he didn't care about anything else. Okay? Shoot them fools, and let's move on. Okay, but no, he had to go and televise sending all of our people to Iraq and not let them come home, and that screwed up his whole. You know, we were all excited about Bush until he sent the troops in Iraq. Okay, and till this day, those people on that side of the world will not let it go. What George Bush did to them by sending our troops over there and building all that over there, and it's still over there. And and I agree, Biden did something by trying to pull out of the Middle East and let them people live their life, but he did it at the wrong time and he did it in the wrong way. This crap that he just did, that he just pulled off, where all these people over there are getting killed by the Taliban, that's some bull crap. That's all messed up. That's not the way you do it. But he's not Donald Trump. He's a white man, but he ain't Donald Trump. He ain't got no gangster in him. He ain't got no brother in him. He's just a plain old white Polish idiotic Alzheimer's disease fool. Okay? That should have never been put in office. They put him in office and they made sure he was sick with diseases and going senile when they put him in there so that they could control him. This is what Democrats do. You're in the wrong party. If you got any morals, you're in the wrong party. Okay? You're in the wrong party. Okay? Like I said, Trump came late. He should have came earlier, but he came at such a time as this because we're trying to put, and what does Trump say? Since you want to be such a conspiracy theorist and control every word, well, pay attention to what did Trump say? Let's make America great again. And the fool said, make America great again? What, you mean slavery? Whoever said America was great during slavery? I think he meant make America great again after slavery. Make America great again, you know, when we had a good president, whether he was Democratic or Republican, and he helped America, stand to their feet and be counted. And he helped us to be wealthy. And he helped us, and that's what Trump wants. He wants us all to be wealthy, not just certain people. But when he said stand to your feet, Trump wants to take us back to that place where we are Americans. We're not slaves to other countries. We are literally Americans. We're not slaves. Okay? All of us, blacks, whites, and anybody that's a legal immigrant or a legal citizen of this country, we're all standing to our feet. We are no longer slaves, but we are free. He was showing us the real cost of freedom. And y'all felt it. You felt it really bad. Really, really bad. But anyway, that's all I want to say. Finishing up with that. God bless you. I am DeRoy Cruz. I am your life applications officer. See you soon.